So as you age, out of all the different things, say, you know, because I do a lot of yoga, and I lift weights, which is why I'm, you know, bigger than you.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah. So,
Yep.
so strength training, stretching, cardio, good, bad. How to go about doing it?
The problem with cardio is most people do long, slow distance, right? But if you look at research, the athletes, Olympic athletes who've done the most long, slow distance cardio have the most brain damage in later age. Okay,
Really?
so a lot of cardiovascular training is actually brain damaging, and you could find it up in the research. So I prefer that people do interval type of training. But the most important thing is that you show up. Okay, so if your thing is yoga, or if it's Tai Chi, or if it's Taekwondo, or you want to play hockey 4 days a week, that's great, but you got to be active, you got to sweat, right? For busy executives, you know, I've got certain types of workouts, which I call German body comp training, that people can do a lot of work, basically it's a fat loss through weight training. And strongman training is very good. CrossFit, if it's done in a proper box, is very good. Some people need external sources of motivation. They need to be in front of a group, and here's a very simple rule about exercise. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Okay? So if you don't enjoy it and you're just doing it because you need the discipline, that's bullshit. Okay? And I don't believe in discipline. That's a myth. I wrote an article, it's the most popular and most plagiarized article I've ever written. It's called The Myth of Discipline. And the basic message of this article is that you make the choice, and you've got to decide what you love more. Do you love your brain more than donuts? Then you'll exercise. Okay? Do you enjoy healthy joints more than croissant and Nutella? Right? So I don't know anybody that's ever been mugged by a dozen donuts. It doesn't happen. Okay? I mean, have you ever eaten anything by accident? No, it doesn't happen. So this is the type of conversation you need to have with yourself. And then when I tell people, just make a conscious choice. Is this the best thing for me now? But don't tell me you don't have discipline. What you're telling me is you love donuts more than having a great physique or a healthy physique. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So when people body fat and stuff, some of the things I've worked, because I've been through several of your workshops, you know, like multi-day trainings and stuff, is people's ability to, because so many people, it's a vanity thing.
Yeah.
They just want to lose weight. They want to look good, you know, and it's almost like secondary or circulatory system, or how your heart's going to be, or how your brain's going to function. I mean, it's like we live in a culture that is so much about how they look. And what I've learned so much from you is hormone levels. And so that people can really have, you know, maybe good workout rituals and stuff, but their hormones are all jacked up. So what, if people are really putting forth a lot of effort and they still feel lethargic, or they cannot lose weight, or they don't feel strong, or they're mentally foggy, what should they do to discover how to fix it, and what is causing that? I mean, other than obvious things like the environment. If you're working your ass off and you're giving your no time to rejuvenate, I think, you know, what you've talked about a lot is stress. Human stress can cause so much of, so what should someone do if they're either in a state of, like, I want to work out, this sounds good, I've always wanted to, but I can't stick with it, I can't stop carb cravings, I can't stop sugar, or I'm like tired, I have no motivation. I mean, just being in a place where they're stuck, how do you get unstuck?
Okay, the first thing is, I always tell people to do this. The best day to change a habit in North America is Saturday. Okay, so you don't have to rush to go to work, so you say, okay, I'm going to commit. But I think people overcommit. So I say, just go to the gym 10 minutes, okay? So it's better to undersell, right? And then after that, they could work it out. But the thing where people where they would have the most impact is actually sleep. Do you really need to send that extra email? Do you really need to watch the news? Do you really need to watch that TV show, okay? You could tape it. You could buy a Netflix subscription. There's a lot of research out of Germany that shows that the earlier you can go to bed, the better it's going to be for your hormones. So, and one of the problems we have with our lifestyle is actually lights, right? So the more we can offset lights, and there's a lot of technology out there for controlling the effect of light on your brain. But also gradually diminishing the amount of lighting in your house as you prepare to go to bed makes a huge difference. There's stuff you could put on your computer screen so that there's less stress on the brain and your eyes. So managing the electronics in your life will do a lot for your sleep. And simple things like don't watch CNN before you go to bed. I mean, if you've seen great news on CNN, it's usually 99% tragedy. So, and the thing that
TVs in bedrooms, I think, are incredibly unproductive sort of devices, especially for entrepreneurs. You know, if you have nothing going on in your life and TV is your biggest highlight, then maybe. But you know.
Yes, and then, you know, simple reading and book reading and journaling will do a lot for your sleep, because one of the things with sleep is that people can't shut off their brain. One of the most common disorders I see in executives is the inability to shut off the brain. So journaling is one of the best ways to get it out of your system, and I like people to journal before they go to bed. But having a grateful log, in my opinion, is probably the biggest step for sound sleep. And then and you have to have what we call a sleep routine. So you have to have a countdown of what you're going to do and the activities you choose before going to bed. And if you go to my website, strengthsa.com, I've got lots of sleep strategies. But for example, there's a botanical called reishi mushroom. And one of the names in Chinese means the mushroom for the professor who lived too much inside his head. So reishi mushroom is actually an anxiety lower. It's an anti-anxiolytic. And then if you consume reishi mushroom extract before you go to bed, you actually have better sleep. There's a lot of different amino acids that can make a huge difference on the quality of your sleep, like theanine, okay? That comes originally from green tea. How much magnesium you take before going to bed makes a difference. So a lot of people have inflammation because of stress. So for example, taking a probiotic with glutamine an hour before they go to bed lowers inflammation and they sleep better. I mean, the amount of sleep strategies that are possible for anybody are limitless. Right?